very much indeed. Hello, good evening, and welcome to Through the Keyhole, the show that bids you welcome to the homes of the famous. Tonight, as always, we've borrowed the keys to two fascinating homes belonging to well-known personalities, and with the help of our beloved house detective, Lloyd Grossman, we'll be taking a privileged peep behind closed doors. But the question is, whose? Well, to try and answer that question, I invite you to examine the finely wrought detail of our overwrought panel. Our first panelist has done an enormous amount of work on radio. In fact, he tells me he started his career working on 6 different stations, 4 railway and 2 petrol. Mr. Nigel REES.
Hello.
Our next panelist is something of an expert on homes, since there's rarely been a moment since she was born when she hasn't lived in one. Underdressed again, Miss Molly Parkin. Our third panelist is a man with a ready wit, and he's going to let us know when it's ready. A man whose think tank never runneth dry, Mr. Andrew O'Connor. Let me tell you a little bit more about the old game there. With the help of these magic keys, we'll be taking a careful look inside 2 fascinating homes. And that should tell us something, maybe quite a bit, about the person or persons who live there. All our friends here have got to do is try and work out who that is. So let's join the sainted Lloyd right now at home number 1 and watch closely, because remember, the clues are there as we go through the keyhole.
This big triple-level hallway is awfully butch. It's got lots of exposed brick and massive timbers. There are big French bronzes of horses on either side of the front door. Now, I think that someone here has real outdoorsy interests. Maybe he's been a cowpuncher, and that explains the steer's horns. But he likes the outdoors life. There's a stuffed stag's head. There are allusions to hawking and hunting. That's why the clown is a slight anomaly. Why does he look so sad? And what about the 3 jolly girls on the cover of the piece of sheet music? And what a glorious snooker room this is. It's done up to almost professional standards. It's been decorated in a sort of Anne Hathaway's cottage style, and there are long Tudor-Beethoven benches to accommodate the spectators. But snooker isn't the only sport that this household is interested in. There's a love of cricket, and especially of horses, because everywhere you look here, there are horsey things. There are little horse sculptures prancing around the room. There are paintings of old horses, photographs of current ones. So someone here has an obsession with the turf. Now, this really is a good time room, and a lot of entertaining goes on here. It's even got its own pub in the corner, which seems largely to be furnished with things nicked from the local. But in the midst of all this grandeur and good living, there is a little reminder of the virtues of hard work. Well, I don't think that this piano really is for playing. It's perhaps more for show. And ditto the chess set, which looks absolutely lovely, but which I think is probably a tiny bit unwieldy. So these people like to have things for the sake of appearances. They also like the dramatic appearance of these fantastic roof rafters. Now, this is a very generous room. It goes down into a conversation pit. There are 2 big sofas, a gigantic bronze, and the world's largest television set. What's nice about the way this house is planned is the way all the rooms and spaces flow together so neatly. So it's just an easy stroll from the sitting room into this dining room, which has quite a baronial flavor to it. Lots of dark, heavy wood, sumptuous carving, wonderful chandelier, and amazing candelabra. It's a very, very grand room. The only thing in it that's been slightly let down is the inflatable leopard who seems to have sprung a leak. This 4-poster is the size of a house, so it's not surprising that it has its own flight of stairs leading up to it. It's really a wonderful bit of old English carpentry. Now, the walls in this room are black, and together with the gilt mirrors, it gives this place a slight feeling of a nightclub. So no wonder that cool chick feels so much at home here. There's quite a lot of vivid orange here, and there's a slight oriental feeling, both in the heavily carved furniture, in the profusion of green jungly plants, and in this Chinese carpet. There's a wonderful 19th century French fountain in these lavish gardens, and the tennis court is the scene of some amazingly intricate brickwork. But best of all for me is the fact that the resident birds have their own swish maisonette. Let's look at the evidence. The emotional clown, the love of horses, the industrious miner. Who lives in a house like this? David, it's over to you.
Thank you very much indeed, Lloyd. And now for our home and studio audience, though not for our panel, here's whose house it is. Nigel.
Are we looking here for a man? Who is best known for riding horses? No, we're not.
No. I thought you'd enjoy that silence.
Yes, I was working at it. But there is this clown side of things, which might indicate a theatrical... No, we're not.
No, I think...
An element of performance, perhaps.
An element of performance, we'll accept those words.
All right, yes. And then there was the coal miner statue, and I wondered whether perhaps he'd been a miner at some stage in his life. No, he hadn't, obviously.
Well, no, we don't know. We'll ask him.
Yeah. The only other thing that really struck me was this word that Lloyd came up with, Tudor Beetham, which is... I think that's what he said.
Yes.
I'm not totally sure that I've ever heard that word before, but I will treasure it and try and use it in my next conversation. So there we are.
Well done, Nigel. Molly.
Well, he's extremely wealthy, but he's made it himself. It isn't inherited wealth. There's this kind of newness about it. I might have said that it was a trade unionist, or it might have been somebody who was in the building trade. I mean, they've got access to a lot of timber. It could be somebody who's to do with the, or he owns racehorses, something like that, or...
I think he owns half a racehorse, but I don't think that...
It's somebody with a sense of humour. It's rather a short... it's obviously a comedian. I think it's a comedian. Got it.
Talking of...
A short little person because of those steps to get up to the bed. A little short, fat comedian.
Not a short, fat comedian, but talking of a debonair, handsome comedian, Andrew, it's over to you.
Is it someone who's had their own television series as a comedian?
Yes, he's been on lots of television series.
Lots of television. And has he been around for... He's sort of... I don't want to say an old, but he's a middle-aged, very established comedian, isn't he?
No, he's pretty youthful in his way.
Is he? Well, I'm jealous as hell,
I think he's a major rival of yours.
I'm very jealous in that case. He's obviously made a lot more money than I have, David. That's why he hasn't been a panellist on this show. Or maybe he has.
I noticed that there weren't any books in the house, or we weren't shown any books.
Most comedians can't read.
Well, this is what I was wondering.
He owns half a horse.
Sure, oh, I don't know.
Comes from a working class background.
He owns half because he's stuffed and mounted the other half. That's the reason.
He has a famous catchphrase.
Famous catchphrase. Ooh, my kippers are in the fridge, missus.
Not what Jimmy Savile, isn't Jimmy?
Famous catchphrase. He's a young... Did he ever win something like New Faces or Up Knocks or anything like that? No, he's just
He started off with winning talent competitions, but not television ones.
Give us one more clue and I'll tell you who it is instantly, David. Just one more little clue. Like his name.
Here's a really good... Would you like his name?
Yeah. Go.
As a child, he did an impression of Burt Lancaster.
Joe Longthorne. Burt Lancaster.
No, in fact, you'll kick yourselves when I say, come through the keyhole, Duncan Norvelle.
No!
you.
Congratulations, you did it. You beat them.
Short and fat, yeah.
But now what was the origin of the great catchphrase that we mentioned?
Chase me. Why do you want to?
Now I've been pursued by Trudy, Tina, Sophie and Jasmine, yes?
Oh, you have, yeah. Nobody's really caught me. Apart from, what was the last one? Tina.
Yes. But now, what was the origin of the catchphrase?
It happened to me in a club up in Scotland. I was working a club and I just pinched somebody's drink and they got up and they was going to hit me. And I just said, chase me, and I ran off. And when I come back, he was fine. He was lovely. And, so I had another drink and another chased me and I ran off again. It was my dad, but nobody knew it. No, it's fine.
But as I was saying earlier, it is right that talent shows were how you realised that you could make it in...
I started off on talent shows, David, yeah.
How old?
I was 16 when I first won my first one. And I was 31 when I won my second.
Those little steps leading up to the bed. You've got your little short, fat companions, then, I suppose, have you?
I just like them there because I know it's my bed when I'm getting in it.
And...
If they're not there, I can't get in, so...
Very good.
What's the link to coal mining? What's the coal mining thing about?
Well, I don't live
miners,
too
I
far
suppose.
away. I live in Nottingham, which is like a mining area.
Yes.
And I went down the pit for children in need, and I spent 12 hours down there. I was only supposed to do one, but I couldn't get out. And I ended up raising about £6,000, and the coal board gave me the little miner, so I put him in my snooker room, along with a cane, thanking me for the actual money raised.
It's an immensely affluent home, isn't it? You must have
Very
done
nice.
incredibly well.
Pardon? No, I share it with a good friend of mine. Barclays Bank. And
Also with congratulations for the outside of that house, because the gardens you designed yourself, didn't you?
I did, David, yes. I got a JCB in which people might have read. Neighbours. It's not all my garden, I just pinched a bit and carried on.
Well, we congratulate you for your skill with the neighbours as well, in that case.
Well, thank you very much.
It's been a delight to have you with us, Duncan. Thank you very much indeed. We've
you,
really
David.
enjoyed it. Our thanks to Duncan Norvelle. I wonder, who's next?
For my permed hair, I want more than just softness. So I use Energard's conditioner. Its unique formula gives my hair that extra bounce.
Energard's conditioner from L'Oreal gently softens your hair without relaxing the curl, so your perm keeps all its bounce.
Now, with Energard's, my hair is so soft, yet my perm looks like new.
Energard's conditioner from L'Oreal softens your hair without relaxing your perm.
Heinz tomato ketchup. The best things come to those who wait.
Thank you, and welcome back to Through the Keyhole with Lloyd Grossman once again on home ground, though as ever, not his own. So let's join him right now at house number 2 as we go through the keyhole.
Well, someone here must be either a keen gardener or a lover of gardens, because there are flowers everywhere. Flowers in vases, flowers in the stained glass, flowers on plates, even flowers on the carpet. There are also signs of an interest in Eastern spirituality. This little kitchen has all the hallmarks of serious cookery. To begin with, there's no extraneous fancy schmancy decor. It's a real working kitchen. And a lot of effort has been put into getting the right ingredients in here. So, there's Vietnamese fish sauce, for example. There's rather good extra virgin olive oil from France, a different sort of olive oil from Spain, wild strawberry cream for mixing cocktails with, all sorts of wonderful ingredients. Now look at these honeys. Maybe someone here is very health orientated. Certainly they enjoy exotic cookery, mostly from the Mideast and from Asia. There are a lot of Indian ingredients here, 2 different sorts of lentils, all sorts of curry paste. They spend so much time in the kitchen that they like to have a bit of companionship. So there's this rather splendid radio here, no doubt blaring out talks programs whilst the chopping goes on. Well, this is where the intellectual hard labor takes place. Plenty of writing, plenty of thinking, but obviously not much filing. Still, at least they know who to ask for help. Now, just look, great heaps of books and notebooks and cards and journals and letters. This person's strong point is, alas, not organization. Now, the paintings on the walls are slightly sort of low-key, and perhaps this room belongs to someone who's a little bit worried about the state of the world. When it comes to relaxation, I think they're great television fans because there's quite a prominent telly set here. And they also like making music, hence the rather grown-up recorder. Listening matter is once again quite spiritual and religiously orientated. We have music from St. Peter's Basilica. We have the autumn thoughts of John Paul II. And what about yoga and transformation? Even here in the bedroom, the reading matter is largely culinary. There's a tremendous assortment of ties, so this place belongs to someone who makes a lot of appearances. Let's look at the evidence. The Eastern outlook, the careful ingredients, the wireless words. Who lives in a house like this? David, it's over to you.
Well, thank you very much indeed, Lloyd. Now, for our home and studio audience, here's whose house it is. Over to you, oh spiritual one.
Whoever it is, I love them because this is the first person ever on the show who's had anything that's even mildly untidy. You know? Because that bookshelf is, you know, pretty wild. Is there someone who would normally think of as attached to some sort of a cause? Someone who would work in an area, say, of causes or for a Greenpeace or that sort of... Well, at least we've got that out of the way.
Well,
right, okay.
In the sense of something... Yes, a cause in the sense of something spiritual, yeah.
Yeah, a cause, as opposed to someone who we think of as being a performer, someone who's attached to a cause or something.
He's not a ventriloquist or anything.
No, no, and he obviously he's a man because of all the ties, and it's a man because women don't have Vietnamese fish sauce, do they, David? It's a well-known fact. So is this someone who appears on TV regularly?
He appears on TV, yes, and if you appear on radio, he appears on radio.
Giving advice in areas? Giving advice?
Which area were you thinking of?
Spiritual one, so giving advice over the phone.
Molly, on to you then, Moll.
Well, I have to cross through everything that I until we came to the bedroom because I was convinced that it was a female.
Despite the Vietnamese fish sauce?
Yes. I just felt it was a female. And then when I got to the bedroom, I thought, well, yes, it is a female person. All those ties are all the booty that she's claimed from all her lovers. She's asked them to leave a tie each. And then I thought, no, this is obviously a male person. I think that it's something like a journalist, writer, but I think it's probably an astrologer, is it? Something like that?
No, not an astrologer.
I'm right off the beam then.
You haven't even got the sex right, Molly. You've got no chance to get what they do for a living.
Right, Nigel. I think you're really starting from scratch.
I don't feel the ground has really been dug for me here by Molly or Andrew. I was very interested in these things, Tudor Beetham, I don't think one would describe this. But I was interested in this other new word of Lloyd's, which is this TOX programs, which I imagine he spells T-O-X.
Right.
And working in radio as I do, I feel I should know this person who does TOX programs. I mean, would I hear him on Radio 4, would you say? I think that he is Roman Catholic because he had this Catholic...
I must say that is the most hilarious reaction I've ever heard to the word Roman Catholic ever.
Well, this is because he, in fact, is a rabbi. Which I think means that it ties in very neatly with the colour of his bin liner.
Right. And go for it, Nigel.
Yeah, I think a lot of people on this panel are going to have to eat some words now. It is the absolutely wonderful Rabbi Lionel Blue.
Rabbi Lionel Blue will lead down through the keyhole. Welcome. Well, it's great to have you with us. Well, they got there. Nigel went for it with like a great prosecutor. He worked out the clues and he got who it was.
I think they did awfully well.
They did do well, didn't they? And they enjoyed it. As Andrew said, it is refreshing to see the books still in a jumble and so. But you've got more books than you have shelves, haven't you?
Yeah, and actually they came to me on a very tidy day.
Did they?
Well, he could get into the room.
Yeah.
And also I hadn't spilt things. I'm a very accident-prone, David, and all sorts of things happen. Usually there's teacups sort of gone, and that poor Vietnamese fish sauce can be all over the place.
Is it good, that Vietnamese fish sauce?
It's interesting. It's interesting. But it definitely sort of revives or resurrects fish fingers.
It does. It does wonders for your average fish finger.
Oh, yes.
But I mean, did cooking come to you late in life? I mean, you wrote about cooking after you wrote about faith and other things, didn't you?
Well, I think cooking...
Or did they go side by side through?
Well, cooking came very early into my life because my mother went out to work, so I was brought up with my grandma. And she was an old-fashioned lady from Russia, Poland, and she just stayed in the kitchen. And I used to sit on the boiler, and she devoted her whole life to cooking. So I think she taught me cooking and kindness at the same time. And then I really got into cooking because I used to go sailing a lot. And I've got no sense of balance, and I've got no sense of direction, but I can cook a goulash in a gale. And I don't get sick into it. I don't eat it, mind you. I only eat bananas.
Well, all your thoughts for the day and so on that you've done, and you were saying that you've had to combat depression and all that. What are the wisest maxims to live by that you've come up with then?
I remember a rabbi once said to me, he said, Lionel, Judaism is your religious home, it's not your religious prison. And I think one's religion is one's home, but it's not one's prison. And that somehow released me a great deal. And then odd sentences like, the party isn't over till the fat ladies stop singing. Now...
Oh, that's New York.
Yeah. I don't know what it means, but at the same time, I know that if I'm stuck, and I say to myself, Lionel, the party isn't over till the fat ladies stop singing, I suddenly, you know, cheer up and sort of, and I've used it in hospitals, and it has the same effect on patients.
Bewilderment. No, well, your house is indeed not your prison, whether it's Judaism or anything else, and this is for your home.
Oh, lovely.
It's been a pleasure to share your home with you. Thank you for being with us. We've loved every minute.
Well, I've thoroughly enjoyed it. The key to life itself. Our thanks to Rabbi Lionel Blue, and of course to Duncan, and of course to Nigel, to Molly, and to Andrew. Until the next time, goodbye for now.
We'll be looking through the keyhole again at the same time next Friday. Is maybe...